Hello everyone, this is another episode of The Snake Pit. Today, we're going to be reviewing something a little bit different than August Underground, something a little bit more palatable for people, and something that's just strange in its own right. Half serial killer movie, half wise guy movie, it is The Iceman. Story of Richard Kuklinski, alleged mafia hitman who worked for the DeMeo family in, I believe, the 70s and 80s. The story is fucking brutal, so let's get into it.
Well, I will say this. If y'all are huge fans of like the serial killer types and aren't as much of a wise guy type person, you would definitely love this because there's a lot of good murder scenes and it's just like, it's perfect in that sense. And then for those who actually enjoy the wise guys type movies, I wouldn't say it's up there due to the fact that it more focused on the serial killer part and less on the actual story and like how the mafia would go about.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it wasn't like Godfather, Goodfellas. It wasn't like a crime epic. It was like condensed. It felt like a serial killer movie more or less.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll give you guys the rundown without hopefully butchering a lot of facts on it. But even if I do, go fuck yourself. What can you do? I'm doing this off the top. So the Iceman, Richard Kuklinski, he's not an Italian, but he was a Polish, and he basically rise through the ranks of the DeMeo family as a hitman. And now Roy DeMeo, a little backstory, was a fucking psycho. This guy, he had his own method for like disposing bodies allegedly, and how he did it was he had this bar where he would get people, they would shoot them in the back of the head, hang them in a over a bathtub, chop them up and shit like that, and then disperse the bodies. Now, this guy employed fucking Richard Kuklinski to do hits. Now, the movie itself doesn't cover his early life, the shit he did when he was a teenager, all that stuff. It also waters down a lot of the domestic disputes and abuse he gave to his wife. To have a more condensed story and to have him as a more sympathetic character in a movie full of unsympathetic characters. But basically this movie picks up around the time when he meets his wife, when he starts working for the DeMeos, and when shit starts going crazy. Now, I got this movie on Amazon because basically it was sold to me as Zodiac meets Goodfellas, which was a really bold fucking claim because those are two movies I really, really fucking love. So there was a lot to hold up, and yeah, it got a lot of weird reviews that I was reading on IMDb. Like, I was kind of nervous. Everyone was saying Michael Shannon did a really good job playing the Iceman, but but everything else wasn't that good. And then I was kind of scared. But when I watched it, I was like, you know what? This movie's fucking killer. Like, It ain't Goodfellas, it ain't Zodiac, but it's got elements of both. And I thought it was really sick.
Yeah.
And so you guys know, this guy apparently, well, he was a hitman for the DeMeos. He said he had killed over at least 300 people. With various modes of execution. One of them that they don't show in this movie, unfortunately, that he was very fond of apparently, was he would take someone down into the caves of New Jersey, I think, with like fucking camera floodlights and a camera, set it up on a tripod, leave them in the cave, and then come back the next day to get the tape, and there would be like fucking
rats
tapes of rats eating these fucking guys inside out and shit, like all kinds of crazy shit. And they don't cover that, unfortunately, but they do cover quite a bit in this movie. Like, you got like shootings, beatings, like fucking choking, strangulation, like just all kinds of crazy shit. And I honestly thought it was a really good fucking movie. I thought it was a good mix of both, but like you said, it felt more like a serial killer movie. Like, I keep this with the horror movies as opposed to like the wise guy and mob movies, and it was a sick fucking movie. So let's get into it some more, I guess. What did you think of it?
I'm similar along the lines of like how you thought about it. To be honest, it was pretty cool. I wish they kind of stuck more to his actual original background and stuff, because
like the stories of the kills he got when he was a teenager and stuff like that.
If you could shown more of that, it would have made it more sick, I guess you could say. I think my favorite thing, though, was the whole, when they were disposing of the bodies, and at one point, his daughter gets hit by a vehicle.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But, I mean, shit happened in real life, so fuck
exactly.
it.
And he basically finds out that one of the people he was working with was the one that did it, so he just basically took him out, popped him 3 times. was like, that was a pretty good part. That was probably like my favorite part, or one of my favorites. The ending was cool, but it kind of underplayed how much of a bigger dude he was.
Yeah.
Like, he gave up more of a fight in real life, but in the movie it was like they went a little soft.
Yeah, they went a little soft. They also left out that whole thing, like, if I'm remembering this correctly, after he worked with the DeMeos and stuff, there was a couple people he killed in Africa that he claimed. And again, like a lot of these stories, you're going to find a lot of people disputing what he actually may have done, what he hadn't done. You find a lot of times with these mafioso stories that a lot of conflicting events happen. A lot of he said this, he said that, this guy's a snitch, this guy's a rat. So you can never really pinpoint how much of it's 100%. But from what this guy said, like, I mean, you got some pretty wild shit going on here. And for those of you tuning in and expecting, like, you know, like we said, a Godfather, Goodfellas type movie, it ain't gonna be that. This isn't a 3-hour type deal. Character development is decent. The one thing that kept surprising me was when I first was reading about it, I figured it was a budget movie. I mean, the company that did it, for Christ's sakes, is Millennium. I don't know. They're like a smaller company, I guess. I wasn't expecting it to be as, like, I thought it was like, it had the elements of a Goodfellas movie, is what I'm trying to say. There was points in the movie where I'm like, oh shit, this guy's in it, this guy's in it, there's a lot of good fucking people in this, like, what's going on? And then it basically would go from these moments of like, oh, okay, I'm getting like the Goodfellas vibe, and then it would just hyper cut to like, oh, a montage of just murder, and it was like super cool. Like, I feel like it balanced the line really fucking well. And this is one of those movies where I feel like if it was a 3-hour fucking thing, it wouldn't have worked. No, like, it being about like an hour and 45 minutes, it told its story, and it was good. And those kill scenes, like, holy shit, some of them were really fucking cool. Like, there's this one great scene where he's on a roof and he's killing this one dude, and he basically gets a rope around his neck, and then he pulls him over his shoulder and just murders him on the roof. Brutal shit. A lot of silenced pistol kills. There's a really cool kill with cyanide, which we won't get into. Fucking, I remember when we saw that, I was like, holy shit, man, how are they going to get away with this? And it's like, again, like, I feel like this is a really cool story that got adapted into a movie, because whether or not a lot of it was true, you got a lot of really movie material stories here that pretty much, when you see it on screen versus when you read the book, or when you even watch the interviews with Kuklinski, you're just like, oh fuck, like, that is insane. And having said that, I highly recommend, if anyone has the chance, they check out this documentary by HBO. I'll actually go grab it right now. The Iceman Confessions. This guy right here. A really sick documentary, a 2-part series. We didn't watch this to review it, but I just feel like if anyone's interested in the actual story, there might be details I missed. There's this, and there's also a book out. Can't remember the guy who did it, but he wrote the Night Stalker book. Very good book, very long, a lot of information. This is a story that spans decades, a lot of fucking people, a lot of dead people, really crazy. And if anyone's interested in the Roy DeMeo story, that in of itself, I thought would have made a fucking crazy movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like Ray Liotta, like, rest in peace, he killed the role of Roy DeMeo. Like, he was just vicious. Like, the shit, like, the guy would flip on a dime and just be a total psychopath. And it was so sick to see him just play, like, such an unhinged role. Like, that was just so fucking cool. Highly recommend this movie to anyone who's interested in serial killer movies and mob movies. Yeah, you're gonna get a little bit of both.
It'll be fucking like a perfect mix. It will get both those itches.
Oh, hell yeah. Any last words? What would you rate this on a scale of 10?
Honestly, I'd rate it like an 8.5.
Yeah.
In like the mafia side of it.
Okay.
But like for the serial killer side, I'll probably put it like 9.5, 10.
Yeah, fair.
It definitely hit that.
Yeah.
Itch, for sure.
You know what? I'm gonna pretty much just, as unoriginal as it sounds for this flick, I'm gonna go with what you said on it.
Yeah.
8.5 on the mob movie, 9.5 on the fucking serial killer movie. This movie, again, going into it knowing that you're not going to get a Carlito's Way, a Goodfellas, or anything like that, just going in with a surface by the numbers mob movie, it could be a lot worse. This movie had some really good fucking actors in it. The really engaging story, like I found the whole movie just zipped by really fast. Like it went by too fast at some points. I was like, damn, I wish there was more. Like, and it was like a really good, and as for a serial killer movie, it was just really fucking cool to see one done in this way, because most of the time it's usually some like schizo with a knife killing women, or like, you know, some shit like, you know, Ramirez shit or something. But like this was just so different. This, like, it presented itself in one way, and then by the end it went in a completely different direction, and it was great. And anyone who said that it wasn't that good, or people that were saying, oh, this didn't happen and he was full of shit, I'm like, well, unless you were in the mob and you were there, and you can't really say. And on top of that, go fuck yourself, because it was a really good movie. It went by too fast. I wish it was a little bit longer, but holy shit, that was a good movie. And again, if you thought that it had shit wrong with it, I think you're just stupid. Like, that was a good movie. Like, highly recommend it. If you guys like your mob movies and your serial kill movies, check it out. The Iceman. Fucking killer.